Hi, thank you for joining me in this episode of GradSWE UCLA presents Women in Science, We Have the Power to Change the World. My name is Yifan Gao, a PhD candidate from Civil and Environmental Engineering Department at UCLA. I'm also the International Student Event Officer at GradSWE UCLA. GradSWE stands for the Graduate Student Community of Society of Women Engineers. Our goal is to provide support to graduate students and help them shine in their future career. We are going to host a series of interviews to female scientists, and we hope we can encourage more women to join the community of STEM. Our guest today is Professor Cesunica Ivey. She's assistant professor from Civil and Environmental Engineering Department at University of California, Berkeley. Her areas of interest are human interactions and air quality disparities, air quality and meteorology, sustainable mobility and air quality, and computational methods. If you are interested in her research, feel free to check her lab website. Hi, Professor Ivey. Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you could introduce yourself and your lab, your research to the audience.
Sure. Can I pull up my slides?
Oh, okay, sure.
So are you?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Cesunica Ivey. I am an assistant professor at the University of California, Berkeley, and I'm very happy to be here to speak with Yifan about running a lab and conducting research in air quality. So my lab is the Air Quality Modeling and Exposure Lab. And so very briefly, I'll tell you about myself and about my research. Feel free to pause the video. I studied mathematics and civil engineering as an undergraduate student at two institutions. And I studied environmental engineering for my doctorate degree with a minor in city planning. I've worked as a postdoc at UNR and at Princeton University, and then I became an assistant professor at UC Riverside and moved to Berkeley in 2021. So essentially, my lab is focused on developing solutions for the grand challenges in air quality. And we do that with first principles models, like EPA regulatory models, as well as by using Internet of Things and wearable monitoring technology. And as an overview, my lab applies the things I just said in a various number of ways across 4 different research thrusts. And I'm happy to answer questions about that at a later date. But essentially, we look at topics in air quality at the intersection of human interactions, sociology, meteorology, sustainable mobility, and also computational methods. As an example of something that we do with wearables or low-cost sensors, and in this case, this is a stationary monitor that we collaborated with the city of Riverside for, and we mounted these monitors along what we call the innovation corridor to understand the differences between regional and local influences from traffic-related pollutants. And this is important because inland Southern California, where Riverside is, has a very complicated atmospheric chemistry that is impacted by emissions upwind and also by local emissions. And we worked with a team to actually install 3 monitors along Innovation Corridor, as you can see here. And the intersection is also outfitted with a fish eye camera, as well as all types of monitoring equipment to measure traffic flows. As you can see here, we do have a 4th monitor. It's at another intersection, but we can look at the distributions of particulate matter and nitrogen dioxide concentrations along this urban corridor. Of interest is our ability to calculate the partial dependence of these concentrations on various environmental factors. And this will let us know whether or not the pollutants are largely driven by regional or local factors. And this is important if we want to reduce local air pollution in a city like Riverside. other things that we do with the use of low-cost sensors includes action planning for the reduction of exposure to wildfire smoke. As an example, we have a study that is launching in the Bay Area where we're going to use the same clarity node to measure localized air pollution to be able to send messages to the public to warn them about potential air pollution risks due to wildfire smoke. And as you can see here, this is the geographic extent of the area that we hope to engage with, as this area is susceptible to wildfire smoke. Last but not least, I want to touch on some of the work we do in relation to environmental justice. We work alongside AB 617 communities, and these are communities that have been identified by the state of California as having adverse exposures to air pollution. Right now, we're finishing up a study where we're looking at the day-to-day impacts of living near the BNSF rail yard in San Bernardino, and we're working alongside community to enhance their understanding and actually provide data sovereignty to the community to be able to advocate for themselves to reduce their pollution exposure. This is a picture of all of the people that are involved in this effort. This is a community effort, and we want to make sure that everyone involved has their voices heard. Thank you very much. That's the overview of my lab and some of my contact information.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's a really amazing talk. I'm from the northeastern part of China. So like it's really close to Russia. So when in the winter it was like pretty cold. So it was like traffic pollution and also like heating pollution, also like agricultural air pollution, because like in the winter they have to burn the straw on the field, so they will like make the fertilizer for the ground. But like there was like a lot of severe air pollution when I was a kid. So right now, due to like many years effort, it's sort of like under control, and the government forbade like the straw burning and everything. So that's why I'm always paying extra attention for the air pollution. So I'm really interested in your research. So I have a question, like, so why you are interested in air quality research, and from your experience, what should we do to tackle this problem worldwide? Because I'm living in LA, unfortunately, which has a lot of air pollution. Yeah, I really wanted to hear your opinions about it.
Right, thank you. I think that's a very great question, and I'm glad to hear that they have reduced the agricultural burning, which can be a huge source of wintertime air pollution. So I'm interested, or I became interested in this area very early on. I was generally interested in environmental studies as a high school student.
Yeah.
So I have a bio that has been published by the Story Exchange about my story and about how I started by being a member of the Earth Tomorrow Club in high school, where we talked about conservation and recycling. And that evolved into me wanting to pursue environmental studies as a graduate student. What got me interested in air pollution was an undergraduate course that I took from a very dynamic professor who just piqued my interest in that area. Yeah.
It happened to me with the micro. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, please
so
go ahead.
I just want to share like a quick story of mine, because I got interested in microbiology was because one of my professors, he was like really dynamic about the microbiology. So that's why I was like interested in all that. Also my high school teachers. Yeah.
Wow. So that's testament that really the foundation for, and this is a foreshadowing of maybe later on in the conversation where our interest in STEM topics really starts early, huh? Yeah. And you asked me what we should be doing to reduce air pollution these days, especially in a place like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to pitch that we as human beings across the world We really need to reduce our frivolous consumption of goods. Most of the times when we're going out and buying things, especially in high-income countries, the products are derivatives of fossil fuels, right? Lots of plastic components. Fast fashion also has a fossil fuel component. And so I'd say if you look at the life cycle of all of those things, it involves emissions at the production stage, and also the distribution stage. And once we throw that stuff in a landfill, the landfills are going to emit greenhouse gases as well. So we really need to reduce our consumption as people.
Yeah, like the transportation chain. It was like, I think that one of the opinions was like to buy food from locally. So like in the farmer's market and everything to reduce the emission through like the transportation chain and everything. And also like turn off the light whenever we leave the room. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are things that we can do in our homes.
Yeah,
for sure.
So there's still a long way to go for Los Angeles to reduce the air pollution.
They have their own issues, and it's largely related to e-commerce.
Okay.
Which is related to our consumption of goods.
Yeah, we need to reduce that, especially in US. Also in China, the population is really huge. So like if everyone can actually like do something for the air pollution and to reduce the emissions through the transportation and also the consumption, I think that will be like a huge step for all human beings. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I know you right now you're studying air quality, like air pollutions, but I noticed that you changed from environmental engineering to Department of Physics when you were postdoc. So I was wondering like why you decided to take this brave step, and do you have any advice to share with the audience who might be thinking their like postdoc positions?
Actually, this is a really good question. And so the answer may not be what you think.
Yeah.
The reason why I went to the physics department is because that's where my advisor got hired.
Oh, yeah.
The atmospheric sciences program, where she was a part of that, was housed in physics.
Oh.
So, but there's more. So my advice for people seeking postdocs is to first start out by choosing the area that you want to work in, and that will lead you to your advisor.
Okay.
So your advisor may be in a department that is outside of your educational track, and that's okay because the skills that you pick up will be related to your discipline.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So honestly, your department matters when you're getting your degree. Your postdoctoral training, on the other hand, the department really doesn't matter.
It's just like the skills you're gonna get through the training. So the advice will be not just like looking at the department, like for like the students right now they are in, like for example me is like civil and environmental engineering, probably I can see like chemical engineering, bioengineering, like as long as the professor like their research area match what I wanted to do.
Yes, but institution matters.
Yeah.
So maybe the subdiscipline where your advisor is, you just want to be in the place that's going to enhance the skills that you need for your potential faculty position, right?
Yes. So what you learn from the physics department is also air modeling or like pollutions, everything.
So within atmospheric sciences, we really stayed on track with air quality modeling.
Okay.
However, I will say, because my advisor was in atmospheric sciences and therefore in a program that was housed in physics, it's because her skills were more on the atmospheric physics side of my field. I graduated from a department that was more on the atmospheric chemistry side. So I ended up getting a nice, well-rounded set of training.
Yeah.
And you're right, I'd say that the curriculum for that department lended itself to be more aligned with atmospheric physics, right?
Yeah. So
So it's more like physics, and you learned atmospheric chemistry when you were in like chemical civil and environmental engineering department. So it's basically like you
Yes.
combine these two skill set.
Well,
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
you're
it really depends on your advisor's specialty.
yeah.
Yeah.
So right now you're doing air modeling and also like air pollution studies. So yeah. So yeah, I think besides you're like doing a lot of good research, you're also working on the STEM education programs. So I just want to give like a brief introduction to our audience. Is Dr. Ivey has a platform called Brain STEM. Am I pronouncing it right? Yeah.
Yeah, B1
Yeah.
STEM. Yeah.
B1 STEM is a platform that provides accessible virtual mentorship via many social media outlets and has been helping many students to find their directions in academia. And also her YouTube channel has more than 4,000 views, which is more than impressive. So I'm curious about your motivation to establish this platform at the beginning. And I believe for those who haven't heard about this platform, they would love to hear more about this platform from you.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, and thank you for mentioning the platform. So B1 STEM is actually an acronym.
B1 STEM, yeah.
Yeah, it means something else, but
Yeah.
I actually spoke with a registered agent, and that's the way they pronounced it, B1 STEM. And so that stuck with
B1
me.
STEM.
Yeah, right. And so I'm just gonna say B1 STEM is an acronym, it means something, but the platform or the B1 STEM brand or umbrella will house activities related to mentorship, one-on-one coaching, and most importantly, my social media platforms.
Yeah.
So everything developed in reverse. I developed the social media platforms first, and then that became under the umbrella of B1 STEM later. But the social media platform under the hood, I conceptualized that about 2 years ago when I noticed that I was having conversations behind the scenes about the hidden curriculum of academia. And I was having a lot of them with a lot of people. And largely with people with marginalized identities. So women, queer people, racial minorities, religious minorities, because the information is a little bit vague and black box, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of got tired of not being able to access that information publicly. So I started talking about it online. And so under the hood, the name of my YouTube platform is a double entendre. Because what do we wear at graduation?
Yeah. The hood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going under the academic hood, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah. I was thinking about like why is like under the hood. I have okay, that's brilliant. I was like yeah. I thought it's like under the hood of the like B1 STEM or something, but it's like actually that's really cool.
Like even the traditional metaphor, when you look under the hood of a car, you can see all the inner workings. Same thing.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I think part of the reason why I started this Women in Science YouTube channel is I really want to like students to get access to the suggestions from like senior professors to their senior member like postdocs, and also like even like senior graduate students, like even not that senior, just to hear different people's voice and help them to find their way to like in the academia, especially for female scientists.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant because you are at a different career stage.
Yeah.
Honestly, the clearest and most focused perspectives are from people that are going through that experience in real time.
Yeah.
Because I don't quite remember the raw feelings of being in grad school.
Yeah.
It's becoming a little bit more fuzzy, but I can really speak to the faculty and the postdoc experience because it was recent. So congratulations for talking about these things in real time. And it's hard to balance that work.
Yeah. I when I was like a graduate students, I really wanted to like talk to professors, talk to postdocs, but I didn't have a lot of chance to, like to actually contact with those people. I can talk to like graduate students, but they don't know like how to be a professor or postdoc. So like having like a platform to gather all the suggestions and experience will help like all the like students, not just female students, and to understand like what's the stories behind all the successful postdocs and professors. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm from an organization called GradSWE. So it's Graduate Student Committee of Society of Female Women Engineers. So I'm gonna ask you some questions for our organization. So as a female scientist, what challenges have you met in the way that you made all these big decisions in your life? Like to change I know like right now I know like changing the department was not your like the first option because your advisor was in that, and also like how to be a graduate student, like everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's also a great question. So challenges specifically related to being a woman, right?
Yeah.
I would say the biggest challenges are remaining focused in this field,
Yeah.
which is very time consuming during a time where society is telling young women to get married and have children.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would say it's the balance of professional goals versus meeting societal expectations. That has been a challenge. And I just say, it really boils down to treating yourself with the utmost respect, and therefore honoring your own core values. So I just stayed true to my core values and what I thought was most important for my life. So it's been a challenge.
Yeah, especially if like everyone else is telling you like what like you should get married, what you should do, you don't need to have that successful career because that's the social expectation for men, like something they're all telling you the same thing is always really challenging to ignore all the voice outside.
So I would just tell any woman listening, she really should only do things that align with her core values.
That's like fine
at the end of the day.
End of the day, like exactly what she wanted to do, not other people tell her what she should do. So I think because you are right now a really successful professor, and I was wondering, do you have like female role models you look up to when you're pursuing your career?
So that's such a tough question because there's not one person that I look to. I look to anyone that is successful at what I want to do.
So it's not like there's no name for it, right?
I mean, do I have champions and mentors that have been absolutely phenomenal in my life? Yes. But I don't model my life after one person. So if I had to name some influential people in my life, I would say my postdoc advisor, Professor Heather Holmes. My first dean when I was hired at UC Riverside.
I saw that video.
Oh, Professor Sharon Walker. She's in your field. Other women, Professor Arlene Fiore. Professor Carl Nelson. She's in my department right now. And I'm sorry if I'm forgetting people who are all amazing.
I took Professor Nelson's class when I was in Berkeley. I took 2 of her classes.
Oh, interesting. She
she was a lot. Amazing.
A lot of people, a lot of
Yeah.
women.
You can always
It's
find
very
like a
common.
shining quality in one person, and it doesn't need to be just one person. It could be like all the female scientists that they all have their own quality that we can look up to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, I like to do a la carte.
A la carte,
Role
yeah.
modeling.
Role models. So for my last question is, do you have any advice that you would like to give women that are currently or thinking about pursuing STEM field?
Right,
Yeah.
that's a great question. So my final piece of advice for women,
Yeah.
and it relates to the role model question. Follow advice
Mhm.
from people who have achieved what you want to achieve.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And really, you really need to be filtering out advice and comments from people who have not walked in your shoes or who will never walk in your shoes.
Yes.
Does
Yeah,
that
it's
make
like
sense?
that really makes sense. It's because like if they never experience what you want to do, they will never understand like why you are so stuck with your dream. They always think there's like a better option. Like you just go to another, change your major to computer science, yeah, and make some money. It's there's like a lot of
Yeah, so I would wait advice from people who are successful in the things that you want to do more heavily than people that don't have a frame of reference for your life.
Yeah. That
Right.
really makes sense. Yeah.
Other
than that, it's like there's no need to actually get a lot of comments. It will like distract you from like focusing what you want to actually do.
Yeah, and we know that just to be honest, we know that as women in STEM, we oftentimes experience microaggressions.
Yeah.
Like you're only here because you're a woman. You're only here because you're a minority woman. You really need to ignore those things.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of these experiences and your research and your life suggestions to all the audience. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Women in Science. We have the power to change the world. Please hit the subscribe button and follow us to hear more stories from female scientists.